Hey people, Gen Xer here. Just got an article from The Intercept. It's actually about Google launching a search engine. Google's actually launching a search engine in China that's supposed to be heavily censored and regulated, which is a really stupid thing to do, according to what the article's heading even says too. But it's actually a good article. It says Google's former head of free expression issues in Asia has slammed the internet giant's plans to launch a censored search engine in China, calling it a stupid move that would violate widely held human rights principles. No shit. But as The Intercept first reported this week, Google has been quietly developing a search platform that China that would remove content that China's authoritarian government views as sensitive, such as information about political opponents, free speech, democracy, human rights, and peaceful protest. It would blacklist sensitive queries so that no results will be shown at all when people enter certain words or phrases according to internal Google documents. Lukman Tsui, Tsui, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Google's head of free expression for Asia and the Pacific between 2011 and 2014, read the leaked censorship plans and said he's disturbed by the details. This is just a really bad idea, a stupid move. He told The Intercept in an interview, "I feel compelled to speak out and say that this is your right to free speech, of course." I agree with that notion too. Google previously launched a censored engine in China in 2006, but pulled the service out of the country in 2010, citing Chinese government efforts to limit free speech, block websites, and hack Google's computer systems. Tsai said that the situation since 2010 has worsened with the new national security and cybersecurity laws resulting in more government censorship and surveillance on the internet. In these past few years, things have been deteriorating so bad in China, you cannot be there without compromising yourself, Tsai said. Google launching a censored search engine in the country would be a moral victory for Beijing, he added. Beijing has nothing to lose, so if Google wants to go back, it would be under the terms and conditions that Beijing would lay out for them, meaning the state. I can't see how Google would be able to negotiate that would be positive in a way that would be positive. I can't see a way to operate Google search engine without violating widely held human rights standards. Just trying to silence people. It's horrible. Their authoritarian regime, it's a little different in the United States, but obviously if anybody's paid attention to any of this stuff, I mean, Google's been doing it in the United States too with some of the algorithms and what have you. Tying people like Lee Camp from Redacted Tonight to terrorists, or I mean, not terrorists, but tying him to Vladimir Putin just because he works for RT. It's like ridiculous. But I'll go on. It says, Tsai is now an assistant professor at the Chinese University of Hong Kong, where he teaches students at the School of Journalism and Communication. He still follows human rights issues in China closely and has watched as Google has upped the presence in the country in recent years under the leadership of its current CEO, Sundar Pichai. Google has launched translate and file management apps in China. The company has also opened an artificial intelligence research center and invested $550 million in online Chinese retailer JD.com. These were baby steps, however, in comparison to the planned return of the research engine, which would be a massive strategic move for Google with broad political implications, clearly. When Google pulled its search engine out of the country in 2010, it was a major rebuke to the Chinese government and its policies. Returning to China, embracing the censorship would send the opposite message to, according to Tsai. Yeah, I mean, it's disgusting. I mean, that's obviously I don't even use Google anymore. I use Ecosia, Ecosia, Ecosia. It's a German search engine. It's very good actually. Works as good as Google does as far as quickness and efficiency. Um, and for every I think 75 searches or so, um, they actually plant a tree around the world. So far, if you go on their website, they've actually planted over 34 million trees across the globe, which is good. To combat climate change. It's hot out here. Combating climate change. Um, and when it's a really good engine, I mean, you feel good when you're searching on there, and I mean, you're doing good for the world instead of like some of the stories they hear about with Google, where they're like making the algorithms for drones to go and blow up kids and women and children and families and even school buses like in Yemen and stuff like that. It's just disgusting. So, I mean, what would you rather have your money go towards death, you know, and a waste of money, taxpayer money on top of it, literally going up in smoke, or would you rather have it go to something like planting a tree around the world? It's a no-brainer. So, it's kind of a long article, but you kind of get the idea on this. It's pretty terrible. Please, I ask my audience, if you can, don't use Google anymore. I don't know. I really don't even know how much better Microsoft is, but even them or like Opera but like I said, I use Ecosia and I think it's a positive thing because they plant trees, 34 million trees. That's a lot of trees, man. So, sorry, a car go by. Yeah, I mean, don't use Google anymore, please, if you can. I recommend Ecosia or one of the others, any other browser with them. But yeah, get down to the bottom of this here. It's basically telling you that they're just censoring people in China from free speech and being able to look up anything that's against the government or political parties in China. Is basically preventing people and taking their human rights away. Here's the ending of it. It says, when Tsai joined Google, the political environment was very different. He recalls the period during and immediately following the Arab Spring uprising that spread across the Middle East and North Africa, that there was a lot of enthusiasm for the transformative potential of the internet and force of good, which is one of the positive things, for a force that could crush dictatorships and create democracies. But the atmosphere has changed and the enthusiasm faded. Tsai said his work to Google required him to be like a politician, and he decided he wanted to instead focus on teaching and writing. He left the company in 2014 and said Google is no longer employs anyone with the title he once had as head of free expression for Asia and the Pacific and the United States. Freedom of speech is not just a winning issue anymore, said Tsai. Now all we are concerned about is fake news, election interference. Yeah, okay. I know most of the stuff on TV is fake news when it comes to news. Now we're concerned with fake news and election interference that they haven't proven yet, just assertions. But free expression is seen as losing the issue at this point. All we care about is the negative part. The internet platforms are no longer seen as the good guys. They're increasingly seen as the bad guys, and free expression is disappearing from the companies as a result. All the more reason to get away from Google. So, actually, there's another good alternative source to or alternative site to Facebook too that I recently discovered was MeWe. I got an account on there too. But yeah, I mean, they're actually pretty good too. They don't censor any free speech either. I mean, this whole thing's getting ridiculous. They haven't even proven anything with this Russian hysteria stuff, Cold War crap. I mean, even with their indictment of the 12 Russians that were so-called involved in all this stuff, they're never going to see a light of day in the courtroom, first of all. So we're never going to really even know what's true and what isn't true. And then on top of it, the DNC never relinquished their servers. Even James Comey even said that he was complaining that he couldn't get access to their servers. So they were even kind of making up some kind of dumb thing about how they took pictures of the servers or something, and that was adequate enough to read them. Which I don't know. I mean, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I mean, how can you take a picture of a server and find out if it's been hacked or not? I mean, why wouldn't you just take the computer from the point of origin where it's supposedly hacked and just send it to law enforcement directly from the point of origin, you know? Makes no sense. So, I mean, having a third party investigating it too, you know? I mean, everything that they come up so far is just like assertions and with no real merit of or facts backing them up. So, they're just upset that they lost to a reality star buffoon like Trump. That you know, obviously the Russians didn't make us all of a sudden realize that we're living paycheck to paycheck and suffering, you know, or half the country's poor and low income, or you know, record homelessness in the United States under Bush, Obama, and Trump. Really, the last like 30, 40 years. So anyway, it's a good article. Please do not use Google. Google. If you can, I would try to stay away from. I don't use them anymore. I took them off my phone too. So, but great article, and all the more reason to get away from these. It's just sad stuff, man. Have to talk about stuff like this. But I haven't made a video in a while, so I just figured. I mean, the last video was terrible views. It was like 5. Got like 5 views. It's awful. But I know I don't have the greatest communication skills sometimes when I'm not an effective communicator. I know my articles are usually pretty good though. So, I mean, the last one I did, I think before, was about her. Alexander Cortez was one of them, and she won. So, anyway, you know, love you guys. Take care. Keep your head up. Try and, you know, keep the faith, whatever faith that may be. In democracy or what have you. Give the Justice Dems, Democratic Socialists of America, or Green Party. I am too. So anyway, good night and good luck to you. Thank you for watching. Take care.